winter is coming. So certainly lots of different elements come with that. Everybody's trying to winterize their house. I'm trying to figure out what to do with all my leaves. What sort of things can you guys do to help sort of mitigate and get people's houses ready for winter? Also, if something goes bad during the winter, how can you guys help?
Yeah, so our biggest thing with winter is, again, like you said, you want to winterize your home. You want to make sure you undo all your hoses. You want to make sure you don't have any areas where you could get cold, like in your garage, and you have some kind of water that can freeze. I think our main goal for us is just to be aware that when it gets really cold, when it gets -20, -30 here, which it might this year, we could have a really heavy winter.
Yeah.
That you check all the areas of the home. You check the bathrooms. You make sure that you go down in your basement. A big thing we see in the winter is people that go in their basement for a week or two. They go down there and they've got 3-4 inches of water because of pipe burst, and they weren't aware of it. So just know that things can happen when it gets that cold inside your home if you don't check them and you're not aware.
All right, great to be back here. Great to be back here on Veterans Day, and certainly want to acknowledge our appreciation for all the veterans out there, all the people that have served our country. We've had a good chance over the years to have many veterans interact with our team, and I think there's a lot of parallels that can be drawn between football and the military. So we've really benefited from that, but just want to make sure I extend our gratitude in that regard. With Saturday's game, I think it looked, as we reviewed it, much like it felt. We played really, really well. We played fast. I thought both sides of the ball was much more detailed than maybe the previous week, and that showed up in just our execution. Anytime you can run the ball for over 500 yards, it's not easy to do, and that's a credit to our offensive line. It's a credit to all the ball carriers. I think it's certainly a credit to our coaching staff on that side of the ball, really forcing defenses to have to defend quite a bit. And ultimately, we didn't have to throw the ball all too much, but made some plays on the passing side of things as well. And then defensively, those first couple drives, we gave up a couple first downs, but really limited the big play opportunities for Sac State, and put a lot of pressure on a young quarterback early on in that game, and made them as one-dimensional as we possibly could, and that made it real challenging for them. So, in another game where we got a chance to get a lot of guys in the game, and like any one of those opportunities before us, we're going to continue to count on backups and second and third teamers to continue to make their way, and whatever that's going to mean down the stretch here, those reps continue to be very valuable. And I thought, both those groups, the offense scoring once and the defense giving up to score, but then really bouncing back and keeping them out of the end zone after that, I think we were pleased with their efforts as well. So, this sets up this game, this week, two teams unbeaten in conference play, getting a chance to face off down in Davis. Got a lot of respect for that program, not only what they've done this year, but over time. A lot of familiarity with Davis going back to my time at North Dakota State. We've only played them once in my time here, but certainly have a lot of respect for what that program's done over the years. And this team in particular has put themselves in this position because they're playing well on offense and they're playing well on defense. And it's really that simple. They've found ways to control the line of scrimmage. I think in particular on Saturday night in the second half, they did that and got a big win. Offensively, Miles Hastings is a vet. He's played a lot of football, and it appears that he's playing his best football right now. He's dang near 70% completion, over 3,000 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, and really does a good job of spreading it around. He looks like a polished vet, a guy that just gets rid of the ball, knows where to go. Doesn't make a lot of bad plays. I guess that's as good of a way I could explain it. And they do a really good job of playing to his strengths of quick release, accuracy. He can get the ball downfield as well. And he's got weapons, obviously, on the other end, led by Lane Larson. Over 1,500 total yards right now. I think 16 TDs, 40 catches. I think that's the one thing. So he's got over 250 touches. our highest number is, I think Scott Trey has 158 carries. So that's a significant difference from how they're leaning on him, but just finding different ways to get him involved. And he'll line up at Wildcat. He's thrown the ball a few times. He's a, really effective guy in so many different ways. He can run between the tackles. He's, I think most dangerous when they do get him in space, and they do that through the running game, and quite often in the pass game as well. But he's not their only weapon. For I think versatile receivers that all have over 25 catches, tight ends that they're using in a lot of different ways. So a lot of different pieces to the puzzle offensively for him. You'd like to think it was just Hastings and Larson, but it's much more than that. And they're very creative offensively. They do what they do, but they find wrinkles each and every week. Whether it's trick plays or different ways to use Larson at the Wildcat position, Tompkins maybe at the Wildcat position. So credit to what they've been able to do offensively, but just with that offense, they wouldn't be in this position. Defensively, they've been really consistent, really good, in particular against the run. So that says, they're playing well up front. They're big. And I think it's a defense that, I wouldn't pull out any one or two individuals. And that's a credit to what they're doing. They play a lot of guys. They have good size up front. They're active. They tackle well, and they got good coverage ability at the same time. So something's going to have to give. I think they're giving up, it's 118 yards rushing, 3.6 yards per rush. We average 7.2 yards per rush. So obviously that piece of our offense, our ability to run the football versus their defense, and their ability to stop it will be critical. They've taken the ball away a significant amount this year, and that's going to obviously play a big piece in how this game all goes on Saturday. So important week of prep in front of us. Broken record, but we've really lived in the week that we're in. Lived in the opponent that we're facing each week, and no different this week. And that's really the key. We can't all of a sudden try to think we need to change things this week. Stick to a similar script, really prepare well, and then go out and know that we have to play really well against a really good football team, a well-coached football team on Saturday. So really looking forward to the opportunity. And, on the health side, I know we missed Brody on Saturday, but that was a long-term decision, meaning, he could have maybe went out there and played on Saturday and been partially effective. It's our hope that come next Saturday, he's entirely effective. Otherwise, I think we got out of that game feeling pretty good about, again, our continued health for this part of the season. So that'll open up for questions.
You mentioned Hastings and Larson. I guess whether it was playing them 2 years ago or new head coach now, I guess what are the differences maybe you see kind of holistically with that offense this season?
Well, I think there's plenty of similarities. Coach Plow wasn't there that year, but he had been there prior to. So there was certainly overlap, and it was, Cody Hawkins was calling plays that year. A lot of the same types of things they're doing personnel wise. There's certainly some overlap. I think their overall depth of guys they can get the ball to, I think, is more significant than it would have been a couple of years back. Offensively, it does for them to start with the play of their offensive line. I think their offensive line, they've been able to roll with a pretty consistent group, but I think there's something to be said for that. So similarities, I think, but I think we both evolved. And that's the one thing. We followed them 3 times this season: Idaho, Portland, and Eastern. So we've seen a lot of their film and crossover. And what I see is a team that's continuing to get better, an offense that's continuing to get better. And that, to me, the noticeable piece is they continue to get better up front, and their ability to run the ball when they want to, and then to stop it has been, I think, really improved through the course of the season.
3-3-5 mainly on defense.
I know that's how they're listed. I think they find themselves in a 4-down looks more, even though they're going to stand up their stud outside linebacker. He could just well be a defensive end quite a bit. So multiple, I guess, but probably more in the realm of a team like us the 3-3-5s that we've seen. I know that's how they're listed, but they're more of a 4, I think a 4-2-5, how I'd see it.
And then would you like to be aggressive? What kind of tendencies, I guess?
Yeah, I think they do a really good job of keeping on your toes. I think that multiple nature, not only in their fronts, but then it exists in their willingness to pressure. I think not crazy risk adverse on that side, but bring an edge guy, drop an end out, or drop the outside linebacker out, bring an inside backer. Really do a good job of mixing up their looks on third down, mixing up their fronts, mixing up their coverages. So, and really, I think what you see is you gotta earn it against them. And that's the mark of a good defense. One that's going to give up some first downs, maybe give some yards here and there, but ultimately you're going to have to break them. You're going to have to really be consistent. And then their ability to take the ball away, I think, is probably beyond that rushing stat the most significant. They're 19 to 10 games in. And they, a couple critical interceptions the other night, the one in the end zone in the first half, and then the one after they, I think, took a 2-score lead, they get the next play, they get a pick. So, pressure wise, they don't have a tremendous amount of sacks, but I think their ability to get pressure with just rushing 4 is there too.
You mentioned before how important the veterans, the 23 seniors on your team are in that consistent mindset you guys have. How much do you lean on them, or how important are they, especially with the protests?
Well, I think I like to think their sense of urgency continues to be at its peak, especially you get down to the wire here with 2 guaranteed games at this point, 2 regular season games at this point left. I think, whether you like it or not, their days are winding down, but I think they certainly want to make it last as long as they can. So that impact, and at the flip side, we got a really good group of second-year guys in particular that I think are making impacts all over our team. And you see it within those position groups. Those older guys, with their 5th or 6th-year guys, really, I think, continuing to bring those younger guys along, because I think the improvement of that second-year group, has gone a long ways and will continue to. So I don't know that it's much different, but I think it continues to be impactful, and I think they continue to rise to the occasion as far as in games, because those are the moments that you can't script. You can't script the adversity that comes about in the course of a game, and I think it's when those guys hold themselves in a certain way, they don't panic, that it permeates through position groups in the offensive defense side. So yeah, been really pleased with how consistent that group is, and that's certainly been our theme this year.
On the injury front, I guess I know you give an update with Justice in the past. Is he still a ways away, or this one's?
Well, fair question. I think Justice last week pushed it to maybe a different level. This week will be another opportunity to see how game ready he can get. I'm not saying starter ready necessarily, but can he be a guy that they could go into the game and be a pretty good percentage of himself. I think that remains to be seen, but I think a lot more realistic conversation this week than it's ever been before, in part because the progress I think we felt he made last week.
Then speaking of seniors, Ryland has been such a big key to defense. I guess, what have you seen from his progress kind of in your time here?
Well, a guy that's first and foremost, I think getting everything out of his ability. He's worked so hard, and he's we got a lot of competitive guys, and he is right up there, and as a leader, I think that's where he's continued to grow. He probably was the leader of that safety nickel, probably the DB group last year, but wasn't out front, wasn't a captain. He was maybe the next guy that would have been up for that type of honor last year. But he's done a tremendous job in that role. And it's I think he's your classic captain of a guy that has earned the respect in front of the title. So when you when you get to the point now where you're willing to say things, it's meaningful because you've been able to demonstrate who you are and how hard you work and how much you pour into it. So, and beyond that, he's a really good player. I think, a walk on to a captain is this great story, but in the midst of it, he's become a really good player too. I think he's an all conference level type of guy, and a real key to our success both against the run and the pass.
I think you mentioned it there, but just him going from a walk-on to a captain, I guess, what does that kind of say about guys that can do that in this program and kind of work their way up?
Yeah, I think at the FCS level, the FBS level too, I suppose, but in a state like Montana, there are going to be guys that, like Ryan was a high school quarterback, and his future was as a defensive player, and I'm thankful that the staff before we got here saw that in him and gave him that opportunity because, does the guy have the ability? Has he just not been put necessarily in that position at the high school level? And then more so, does he see it? Does he see what he can become? And yeah, we've had a good stretch of those guys, and we'll continue because, whether it's a guy playing out of position relative to his high school. I mean, they were playing in the right position in high school, but is he out of position relative to what he would play in college? Is he a guy that's a three-sport guy that hasn't maybe poured it all into football? I mean, there's those guys out there, and excited about the two captains in particular in this class, and Orton Perkins, that have become what they've become. It was great to have Ty back here. Ty Okada, and not a Montanan, but a Minnesotan that is very much the same type of story, and now he's in the NFL. And then the exciting thing, I think we have some young players, that are of the same, type of potential. And anytime you can have a story like that in front of you, it's motivating. We can bring Ty back here to speak to the team, and I think a lot of guys would look at Ty and still say he's not the most physically opposing guy, but if you put the work in, you can become what you believe you can become. So long answer to that, but I think those opportunities will continue to come here, and we're continually trying to seek those guys out that can make the best of the opportunity.
Speaking of Ryland, I'm doing a story on the Sentinel connections in Montana State. Can you just talk about being able to grab players kind of in the Grizzlies' backyard, but not the number, but the quality of players who are able to impact the local country?
Yeah, I think no matter where we recruit in our state is really important. So don't shy away from the really good players in Missoula, just because it is just, Sentinel's just down the street from campus there. Don't shy away from young men that might have parents that went to school there. Do our best to show them why our opportunity is what it is, and you hope they gravitate towards it. And then, you have some stories like Ryland, and Ryland leads into the next guy and the next guy, and the next guy. And then you've built something where, I think we have a significant bunch of Sentinel guys right now. And, that means a lot moving forward. I think it means a lot, not only for those young men, but for their families as well. So yeah, wherever the best players are in our state, we got to do our very best to, recruit them, get them interested in Bozeman and our university, our football program. And I think it goes without saying that group of Sentinel guys right now is making a huge impact.
Fans have huge stress. They're so important, especially on the road this year, making a difference. So how would you like to kind of express them being there?
Yeah, I think we travel really well, and I think it doesn't take maybe the outside world's magnitude of this game to get them there. I think Davis is a pretty easy place for a lot of our fans to go to this time of year. So beyond the obvious, what's at stake in the game, I certainly hope that we have the type of crowd, if not a little bit more than we've had at all our different venues this year. And if they get their type of crowd they're looking for, I'll take our smaller version of that and see what they can do as far as rooting us on. So it should be a great game, and I certainly encourage all our fans that can to make it out to Davis.
like Davis has blocked a few kicks, a punt, and then I think given up a return touchdown. So anything special teams wise that you kind of stood out to you when you guys watched them?
Yeah, I think they're really solid, and I think I hope we're the same thing. We've had a couple games right now where there hasn't been much. I know we had the forced fumble out at Eastern, but we haven't had necessarily the big return or the block. But I know the blocks and the big returns we had early have paid dividends. Teams are doing everything they can to get the ball off. Make it very confusing for us to punt the ball away from tackle. So my point is, it's kind of the same thing goes for them. I think you're put in a position where you need to punt first and foremost. What are you dealing with as far as their scheme on the rush side, and then what is their returner capable of doing? And I think any good team that's in the position they are at 9-1, they've been able to make their fair share there. Playing at a lower elevation, I think in the kick return game might become a little bit more of a factor out there than it has been for much of our season. So, we are going to have to find a way to get an edge in the special teams side of things. And even if that's the slightest of an edge, I think sometimes winning in the special teams is just not losing. You don't give up a huge play. So, each week we pride ourselves in really being able to bottle them up, and then ideally we make a play of our own, and that's the idea this week too.
And no, you mentioned kind of Marquis coming back or working his way out from injury a little bit, and then still Adam and Rohan taking a back.
Yeah, I think Adam, now that he's back and healthy, I know he wasn't for a couple of weeks, so as we got deeper at running back, the intention for quite some time has been to put Adam back there. I know early in the season we weren't positioned the same way. So that's, getting Julius back and really being completely healthy at running back has allowed us to put Adam back there. Now we haven't had many opportunities, but the idea is, that's one more opportunity Adam can touch the ball. So I think the expectation going in this week, he would be back there. And yeah, we got a unique situation with a guy like Rowe. We've played Jared back there a bunch. So if they do off kick our main returner, those guys can do something with the ball.
And just anything you mentioned the turnovers in the Grizz game this last Saturday, but anything else maybe that stood out from that game about Davis that you hadn't seen before?
Well, I thought it was impressive how they just held their composure. I know there was a moment in that first half where all of a sudden, 1st and 10 becomes, I don't know, 3rd and a lot, and so that was a bad series for them offensively. And they had a couple, I think it was 3 penalties in consecutive plays. But they really, I think they composed themselves. They were able to, I thought it was big. They got that field goal right before the half. Montana went for it on 4th down about midfield. They turned it into points. And you just sense going into half and then coming out of it, even though they gave up the go-ahead touchdown, that their confidence beyond that, maybe that rough patch, never wavered, and then it built, in a difficult place to play. So I think that's maybe the biggest thing you look at. Okay, here's a really veteran team, and it showed. They have a lot of experience throughout their team. A lot of guys that have been there for a long time, and that showed up more than any particular plays. I think they just they showed a real confidence and composure about themselves in that moment.
Every week, we highlight athletes from Montana State University on our Montana State Minute, which airs on both Nuanez Now as well as the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series. That's probably presented by the Bobcat Collective. Bobcat Collective is the NIL collective of Montana State University. And right now, if you would like a free membership for a month to the Bobcat Collective, you can visit bobcatcollective.com/skyline and get access to all sorts of different things, whether it's pairing your business with Montana State student athletes, finding out about social events, getting access to all sorts of content, including roundtable discussions with various standout Bobcats, and much, much more. Get a free membership right now to the Bobcat Collective, bobcatcollective.com/skyline. Bobcat Collective, serving Montana State University student athletes and helping connect the Bobcats to the Treasure State community.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again. Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any town pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road, pump it up, oh yeah.
Coulter, do you have anything?
Yeah, hey, Coach. Thanks for taking a minute. You mentioned some of the Wildcat stuff they do, but they do a lot of stuff where like they snap it to a different player that isn't the quarterback, but Hastings is on the field. So how complicated is that, and how do you go about sort of beginning the preparations for that?
I think what you really got to diagnose is, to your point, if he's out there, what are their potential intentions? Where is he aligned? Because they will line him at receiver. They will align him in the backfield. If he's in the backfield, what does that mean? If he's at receiver, what have they done with him? Because he's generally speaking, when he's still out there, he's a real active participant. He's not just some guy they're sticking out on the sideline and he's just going to stand out there. So again, the creativity piece I think is significant. You get 10 games deep like this, they've done a lot of things, and at the same time, you got to expect they're going to have something up their sleeve too that they haven't shown. So really, no matter what, being very disciplined, and I think that's something that our defensive players, our defensive staff has been by and large, and will have to be come Saturday, because I imagine we're going to see something we haven't. They're going to put all their pieces to the puzzle in a little bit different places, and got to be ready for just about anything.
Coach Plow was saying, this is the Big Sky Championship game, basically. I mean, whoever wins this game gets the outright championship in the auto bid. So what do you think of that opportunity? Also, what do you think of that approach of sort of declaring how big the game actually is?
Well, this is true. I guess whoever wins will have the outright bid. I know we all have another game left. So it's facts, I guess. So we want to get another win. Really that simple. And, winning the Big Sky Conference is a significant goal of ours. So with that on the line this weekend, along with the auto bid and all of that, yeah, it's another step in the direction of where we want to go. But at the same time, I told our guys this morning, it doesn't mean we need to try harder all of a sudden this weekend. We don't have to come up with a bunch of new guys or anything like that. We just have to, keep doing what we're doing and maybe just do it a little bit better. And I think that's been our goal. I look at just from the Eastern week to last week, I think we did things better. We showed signs of improvement here in November, and we need to continue to do that. Because our intention is to play beyond November, and to do what you want to do then, you got to do what you need to do now. So we're really trying to stay pretty dang simple-minded, but yeah, that's all on the line this week, and 1-0 means good things.
Have you been down there before?
I haven't been in the new stadium. The last time I would have coached down there would have been 2006 in the old stadium, which I know this is quite an improvement.
Yeah, because you've played Davis several times, but it's been in Bozeman every single time. Yeah, I was trying to remember that.
Yeah, no, we've only played them the one time in 22.
Right.
And then we'd go back to, I think, probably 07 or whatever, that I would have coached against them at NDSU.
Yeah. You mentioned the defense being able to stop the run. They've done that. Davis's defense has so well the last 4 games. Is there anything in particular that they're doing well that's allowed them to do that?
Well, I think they're doing a few things. They have a big front, so they that in itself is a challenge, and they pick and choose their times to move those guys, and it's all coordinated. It's not movement all of a sudden that they got a wide open gap. Some poor safety has all this space to fill. So beyond level 1, those guys are where they're supposed to be. Linebackers, safeties. They do a good job of bringing edge pressure, I think, in timely fashion that causes some problems. And they've tackled well. I know the particular thing that showed up, I thought, in the second half of that game on Saturday night is they got penetration in the backfield a bunch of times and made it really hard for the backs to be able to have anywhere to go. So, so they're planning well and they're executing the plan well. And that's how I would frame it. I don't think they depend on any one or two guys. It's really a pretty well-oiled machine around or across the board. And they cover well enough where they can put some pressure on their corners, in particular from time to time. But they haven't been this bunch that they got to do it because they're so committed and they're doing all kinds of crazy things. It's a little bit out of character. That's typically what we've seen. And then all of a sudden, we hit all these long runs like we hit the other day because the team is doing things a little bit out of character and they don't get guys in gaps they're supposed to get in. So ideally we can create that situation, but they haven't presented that to this point.
I know you mentioned there's a lot of similarities between what you saw a couple of years ago, just because there is a lot of staff continuity there. But there's been a lot of new coaches in the league the last several years. What have you just thought of the job that Coach Plow has done here in year one to get his team sort of to this brink of at least of a Big Sky title?
Yeah, it's impressive. And I think his familiarity as a former coach, not too distant in that regard, and then a former player. I think that all makes a big difference in you're taking over a familiar situation. Your players who have had a relative amount of success, gravitate towards him, I'm sure immediately. So, reason for success, I suppose, but you still got to go out and execute it. So credit to Coach Plow and his staff for pushing the right buttons, I guess. And that doesn't just start on an August Saturday. That I'm sure goes back to what they began through that transition back in January, and it certainly played out well for them at this point.
Is a will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
I guess what strides do you guys feel like you kind of made as a defense from the Eastern game this last week?
I thought we played a really good, team defense this week. I definitely didn't throw the same, kind of run schemes that we faced against Eastern, but we just played really well together and everyone was doing their 111th. So
how has Neil looked the last couple of weeks alongside?
Good. Yeah, it's been fun to get to play with him. Definitely coming together, bonding a little bit. That just makes us all, so much more comfortable out there on the field together.
How do you feel like you've had to step up as a leader since Danny went down? And it's kind of a few games with you as that veteran on the field.
Yeah, it's been good. There's been challenges, but I'm getting more comfortable, getting people lined up and getting the call, getting people set up, and then executing myself. So yeah, it's definitely been a challenge, but it's been fun.
I guess you kind of take us inside the locker room. What's the excitement level like for this weekend that you guys go down to Davis for this huge matchup?
Yeah, I'm really excited to get down there and face these guys. I'm excited to go to California. I've been there since Sac State last year, so I think it looks like a cool stadium, and it looks like it has some good players, so it's gonna be fun.
There's no doubt, obviously, the magnitude of this week and stuff like that, but how do you guys try to block out the outside noise and keep the focus?
We're just focusing on ourselves. You can't really do anything about what goes on there until you get there. So right now we're just, going day by day, focusing on our practice, focusing on our meetings, trying to learn as much about these guys to best prepare us for Saturday.
What specifically kind of stands out? I mean, obviously, Larson at running back, but what specifically stands out to you for their offense?
Yeah, I haven't watched a ton of it yet, to be completely honest. I watched the Grizz game against them, and the Larson kid looks like a tough kid. I saw them playing his rodeo highlights, and I was like, respect, and it's pretty funny. So
What's it most about that game about Davis on Saturday?
they just look like a really tough athletic team. They look like they got a lot of speed on the field. And yeah, I'm just excited to play them. Look like a good group of kids.
So you're excited to go to California? Is that weather related, or is there something else here?
Yeah, probably weather, probably just, change of atmosphere. I saw some post on Instagram where the head coach was trying to get all the fans to come to the game. So should be a good environment. I'm excited.
Only 2 more regular season games left for you. I mean, can you just take us through kind of what this season's meant to you, what these final guaranteed ones will be, and then the playoff, just what this all season's kind of meant to you?
Yeah, it's been surreal. It's been going so fast. Really trying to soak it up, on Saturday. You're so focused on every single play, every single game, reading your keys, knowing what you're supposed to do, that sometimes you just kind of get lost in like the business of things. So especially like when we get pulled out, during the third quarter, like then I can just sit there, cheer on the other guys, look around, enjoy the scene. And I try to do that when I run out for the game too, but it's tough to really take it all in.
Yeah, I mean, to be a part of history this weekend, 10-0, never been done before, anything that means to you just to be a part of this historic year, not done yet, obviously.
Yeah, not done yet. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been surreal, honestly. It's like the gravity of it really hasn't came down on me. It's just like I'm still just focused on, get the job done.
You guys didn't have Danny the week prior because obviously he's having surgery. What was the boost like to have him back on the sidelines and kind of helping out?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's certainly comforting for me. He's always been there for me, supporting me throughout my career. And it was fun to have him and just, be able to sit there and, talk on the sideline and kind of just joke around. Really enjoyed him being there this week, and he'll be traveling with us this week too. So yeah, I'm excited.
I think you were the first one to go up to him when he got hurt. Looked like you're but can you tell us anything about like what that moment was like, and just kind of the emotions and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I was certainly just a little bit scared, honestly, for him. Locking up, you don't know what to expect, and just trying to read his body language and see what's going on. You never know what it's going to be, what's going to come of it. So try not to get, too emotionally invested when someone is laying on the ground, and then when it comes out, obviously it's heartbreaking, but yeah.
And you mentioned the run schemes at Eastern being tricky. Was that kind of a lot of the trick plays stuff they were doing? Was that the tough thing, or were there other things I guess that stood out about?
Yeah, they had some trick plays that definitely, caught our eyes and got us going in the wrong place. But yeah, it was just a tough, hard-nosed game. And we hadn't been in one of those since New Mexico, so another challenge for us. And I thought we took it on pretty well and played pretty well.
How much does that game against Eastern and facing a really talented offense help you guys, you think, in facing Davis this week?
I think it helps us a ton. I mean, if not just a reality check to be like, okay, we got to stay on top of our stuff. We got to keep going. We're not untouchable, kind of a thing. And yeah, hopefully just woke us up a little bit, let that fire under us a little bit more, and we'll be able to push on through these next, stretch of games that are going to be tough every single game. Yeah.
When you do take those moments to kind of soak it all in, like you were describing, what do you look at? What has stood out? What are those like mental images you have in your head from those moments?
A lot of it's just like the fans, seeing the bowl like full of fans, like the smoke, I don't know, the sunlight like shining through on the stadium and all of that, and then just like joking with teammates and laughing and just like being like, dang, this is pretty cool.
And Ty McCullouch, you mentioned him coming back too.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the words he shared, and what was his message to some of the guys when he was talking to the team?
Yeah, he came and talked to us, just told us to go out there and show how much we care about this team and how much we care about, the people we're playing next to. And Ty's always been, such a great leader on this team. And he really showed that when he was here, how much he cared, and hearing that from him just makes you want to play that much harder for, what this program means to so many people.
Last few games after you guys make a play, you see throwing tees up. I guess how much has Danny been on your guys' mind, just kind of playing for him after his injury?
Yeah, it's been on my mind a lot. When someone's a little bit nicked up or banged up, like you think Danny would probably be out here if he could with a broken arm, but he can't do that. So just trying to really play, for those guys who are hurt, trying not to take anything for granted.
Your brother's been a part of some big moments with this program. Do you reach out to him, or has he reached out to you, or do you plan on?
Yeah, he's in town right now, just working before he goes back for the UFL in February. So yeah, we see each other all the time, and he's just telling me to enjoy this season and really take it up for what it's worth.
There's always a party in Montana, whether you're going to a wedding, a football game, a concert. Montana Party Bus can get you there safe and will take you anywhere in Montana. You can relax with friends in style, luxury, and safety. Western Montana based for local and regional travel within Montana borders. Montana Party Bus is great for both large and small groups with a capacity of up to 30 guests. If you want to elevate your event, call them anytime, 406-200-8096. You can also visit mtpartybus.com. Travel anywhere in Montana in style with the Montana Party Bus.
So now with the trifecta with passing, running, and receiving touchdowns this year. So I will take you through just how special that is and getting the first rushing one on Saturday.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think they call it a hat trick in baseball or something like that. Cocky, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. It's just a testament to, the team and the guys being able to block and, just everything coming together. With the team accomplishments, you get those individual accomplishments, and we hope to get a lot more of those. So.
And it started a home record for rushing yards, one of a school record 7 rushing touchdowns, and then obviously going 10-0 for the first time. So a lot of history made in that game. What kind of is your reaction to any of those accomplishments?
Yeah, we celebrated for a second, but that's all it was given early because we had a big test this week, and even after that, it's playoff time now. So we gave it 2 seconds of celebration. We made history, but it's still work time.
Can you kind of take us inside the locker room right now? Like, what's the mindset going to Davis on Saturday?
Just controlled aggression. Honestly, we're gonna go in and try and take it to them. We're constructing our game plan right now, and we're going to be confident in what the coaches give us, and they're going to be confident in us. So,
you spoke a lot on media day about the focus level of this group, and taking that game from last year's ending and bringing it into this year. So, how have you guys kind of maintained that kind of want to know focus every single week?
I think it's just the trust in the guy next to you. Honestly, every time I go out there for every play, I look to my left and right, and I just see a bunch of guys that are really bought in, and we all have the same goal. And when you have that, it's hard to beat. When we all work as one, and we just want the same thing, it's going to be hard to stop us, honestly. So,
it sounds like it's too tough for you and maybe some of the other veteran leaders. But how do you kind of help the younger guys maybe block out the outside noise and the magnitude of what this week means?
Definitely, it's just leading by example. We can't show them any sort of us faltering at all. We just gotta keep our mind on the goal, and that's to go 1-0. We just gotta keep going as the older guys and show these guys that these big games, they're just like any other game. But they can be blown out of proportion if we let them. But we're not going to let that happen.
You and Scott Trey both, maybe somebody else has done the peace sign on your touchdown celebration. So is that all it is, or is there some other meaning behind the?
It's just peace out. Yeah, they couldn't catch me, so it's like peace. So yeah.
It was
last year, right, with the punt return touchdown.
I did, yeah.
Great video.
So you're a touchdown faster, or Tommy said he's there?
I don't know. Coach Heron hasn't checked the GPS yet. I asked him today. He's like, I haven't checked yet, so we'll see. I'll let you guys know tomorrow. So.
Your touchdown at Eastern to put the dagger in. I mean, what can you take me through that play and just how that felt in that moment and in that game that was up so close for the second half?
Yeah, so that drive, Coach Walker had previously mentioned that we would call that specific play because I told him and all the other coaches that I think we could get 36 on a deep ball, and he said, we called if we got a first down, but we got that offsides penalty, false start from the O-line, and Coach Walker just trusted me and Tommy at that moment, and Tommy said he looked at my side, and I'd already beat him, and he just laid it out there, and I caught it and just tried to run away as fast as I could.
Speaking of Tommy, you spoke a lot about him and just how much of a crazy athlete he is earlier, in the media days, but how much has he grown, to this point?
Yeah, Tommy, I think he's had all of it under the hood forever. Honestly, it's just whether when was the right time to awaken it, when he was going to be given the opportunity to awaken it. He's always been able to throw. He's always been able to do all these things. Like I've said before, the two quarterback system we've had just didn't let either of them get in the flow. But we're finally starting to see Tommy, get in this flow. He's doing things that we know he could do, but he just wasn't really given the opportunity to. So yeah, he's amazing athlete. He's probably faster than me, honestly. But yeah, he's a great guy, great leader of the team. It's a guy that I want to follow. So I think that's it's the making of a championship team. So
yeah, it's these instincts that just seem second nature, like when he knows, when he needs to run out of bounds, run past all the DBs. Just is that second nature to him? I guess can you just kind of speak to just how mentally sound he is?
Yeah, he's taking a big step from just last year. I don't think it was second nature before, but it is now. He's gotten a lot smarter with just his body because he knows we need him for the long haul. He knows when to get out of bounds, and he knows when to throw the ball now rather than just run it and take a pointless hit when we could take one of those hits rather than him. I look at the film sometimes like, dang, I'm proud of him because he ran out of bounds right there. He's a tough Butte kid. I guess people from Butte are tough. I've only been to Butte once, but I heard it's pretty rowdy down there. But yeah, it makes me happy to see how much he's grown just in the last year that I've been with him.
What's it like watching him sprint away from the secondary?
It's funny, man. We have a joke. The DBs probably don't think that he's that fast until they're in his trail. So it's fun to watch him run away from people. It's really fun.
On the same token, I mean, that touchdown you mentioned, DB was pretty close to you, and you were able to run away from him. So how does that feel to be able to have a guy close and pull away?
Yeah, it felt really good. I didn't think the hole would be that wide open, but again, that's just a testament to the running back, Adam Jones, Rohan Jones, and Ryan Lonergan, plus the O-line. But those guys on the outside really opened that hole up. And once I saw it, I just hit it and tried to run as fast as I could. So it felt really good. Felt really good to put that one up first.
Go back to communication. You were talking about the Eastern touchdown. Bring us into that. I mean, how often are the coaches asking your opinion? Do you have to go up to them? Because it does sound like both sides of the ball, a lot of communication. The coaches are asking your opinion.
Yeah, it's constant communication. Every time we come off the field, especially with the iPads now, we're able to see more, but it's still different from being actually out there than watching it on film as well. So I always put my 2 cents in to my coach, Coach Udy, and he'll relay that to Coach Walker, and they'll tell me what they think and vice versa. It's just trying to find the most optimal play for the next drive or that drive. If they call a timeout or whatnot, it's just constant communication back and forth, and I love it. They trust me, I trust them, they trust us. So I think we'll be able to use that going forward, and it'll be good for us.
And, coming from FBS to come here and for an opportunity to try to win and play for a championship, how much has that lived up to your expectations just being in that moment right now?
It's been everything, honestly. It's probably more than I even expected. 10-0 is insane. I've never thought in my life I'd be able to go 10-0, especially do something that nobody has ever done here before and go 10-0. It's everything and more that I've hoped for coming here, and I can't thank the coaches and the players for accepting me here and taking me in.
It was 2028 at Eastern. You guys kind of haven't had that moment, a moment like that where it's tight.
Yeah.
Going back to New Mexico, obviously. So how much do you think that helps you going into this week?
I think it's just further reinforcement of the trust in each other that we have on this team. We saw it in New Mexico, and then we saw it again then. There was no falter in us, and I think the defense that game, they were down, but they stepped up for us, and they got to stop, and then we just went up after that. It's just a testament to who we are as a team this year, and I think it was a really good, you know, stepping stone for us going into this next block. So
Just anything that you've seen or any, if you've watched film yet on Davis and anything about their secondary or defense that stood out so far?
yeah, I watched first half of the Montana game. They got some pretty good DBs, longer DBs than we've probably seen all season. 6'3", 6'2", I think I saw on the depth chart, and their safeties are pretty big, so we'll have to fit on them pretty well in the run game. But it's nothing like we haven't seen, honestly, other than the length. They're human. They're guys just like us, and it's going to be us against them at the end of the day, and we got to go win. That's the message I'm relaying to the receiver room, and hopefully that's what everybody else's other position groups.
You're going back to your home state. I know it's not super close like where you grew up, but any excitement there to go back to California, considering you understand the great California guys on this team as well.
Yeah, I hope to get some in and out, honestly. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. I don't think they DoorDash, so I gotta figure out it.
There's one near the hotel.
Don't tell Coach Vigen, I might. But yeah, no, it's just hopefully the weather's nice. NorCal's a little bit different from SoCal. I think it might get a little colder out there, but should be fine. We're used to the cold. Yeah, it should be cool. I got some friends coming out, so should be a fun experience.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thanks. You're an animal style guy. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I might get like 3 burgers. Gotta get the chopped chilies if we can, man. Yeah, that's the X factor. Okay, good. Yeah. How we doing? Excited. Last when we were in what was it? Idaho? We're not Utah.
Yeah.
So back today or tomorrow?
Probably tomorrow.
My station manager called. He's like, "Did you eat anything else besides that?"
So I just had 4 o'clock.